So, how did you come up with the idea for the story behind the movie?
What I feel like is always getting in the way of love is how people objectify each other. Meaning, rather than treating each other like people, like unique people, we treat each other like objects. And we're always, comparing each other to these expectations that we have. And we learn those expectations from different places, from our upbringing or, et cetera, but also from different kinds of media. And that really interests me in particular. So I thought, a comedy around a relationship between a guy who watches too much pornography and a girl who watches too many romantic Hollywood movies would be a really funny way to sort of get at that question.
Okay. Did you have anything specific did you intend for Tony to be cast as your father?
Tony was my first choice. He really was.
As I was watching the movie, it started out kind of slow, and I was kind of like, well, where's this movie going? But then all the pieces fell into place without being, overly simplified. You sometimes have to think, but it was like you did an awesome job of just the subtle things that your way you were acting in every single scene I could see how Don was your son because of the way you were acting, especially like in the car, and of course the whole church thing and the religion part that was kind of building up, that had to do with the whole subplot. I think that was very well written.
Thank you.
What did you draw from?
Well, I come from a family where if they weren't yelling, they didn't care. So, I sort of know this archetype that Joseph was trying to use, and it's all about the script. He wrote those words, and those words give you the character, and that's where you draw it from. I'm a big believer in just learning it, because the character was there.
For your role. Did you have to add any more lines, or did you just go 100% from the script?
No, I tell you the truth, we fooled around a little bit. There was some improvisation, but for the most part, those are Joseph's lines. Those are Joseph's words. And that's what was so great. The first time I read the script, I went, wow. It's so well written. You know exactly what it's about. It has a very interesting way of telling this story. And I think, and I've said this to him, and I think it captures a moment in our time where a lot of people are going to go, let that song make things that make you go, So I think that's what he's done. And I think it's an important movie. I think there's some messages in there that I think, people should see.
Even though I didn't see it addressed, how do you think the father would have handled his daughter's addiction?
How do I think? That's a good question. How do I think the father? Well, the father's totally, he's in another world. He's not present. That's what objectification does. It makes you not present. So he's the classic not present. So I don't know if he, it's up to her in his world. It's up to her. And don't bother me. Don't mess up my world. And there's a lot of disappointment, I think, in him. He's like. I'm there. This is what my life came to. Here I am.
Did you intentionally write for her to have that addiction?
Yeah, that was written that way. And I always saw the sister character as someone who was sort of 3 steps ahead of everybody.
Without saying a word.
Yeah, and she's like, no one's listening to each other anyway. I could talk, but they're not listening, so forget it.
She's also, she's a statement on that whole situation as well, just her being the way she is, that family, if you look at that family, you got her, the mother's nuts, the father's nuts, he's going, it's quite a crew.
And now, the final one, because last year I got to spend some time with Matthew Lillard, who'd also make the transition from acting to directing. How is that, jump from being an actor to going behind the lens? Now, with this movie you were both, and you wrote it. But do you see yourself doing more directing?
I hope so. I'd love to. I love doing all this stuff. When I turned 21, I got myself for my birthday my first copy of Final Cut Pro, which is video editing software, and I loved it so much. I loved the editing process. I would shoot little videos of myself and cut them together. I've made tons of little short films and videos. And then, combining that with being on so many sets over the years, I felt like it was time to give it a shot.
You know, I've always been a little paternal with him since I know him so many years, and it's really gratifying. It's really wonderful to see him get to this point, because he's always wanted to do this, and to see the thing received, and to have him do such a good job. It's just really,
Thanks, man.
it's really cool. That's all right, pal of mine.